and welcome to what is going to be a very interesting day running around Monaco for round 7 of the Dragon Racing League. Today we have a bit of a different one. It's Monaco, so we all know this is going to be an interesting time. But on top of that, we also have a very tough day ahead, as for qualifying it's going to be dry. For race day, or the race, it's going to be very wet, and then wet, and then wet. So it's going to be a very tricky day down at Monaco, and we all know how fun this track is to drive in the dries as it is. It's very tricky, lots of, tough corners. You're never really hitting full speed, but it's going to be even worse trying to roll around in the pouring rain. So hopefully everything goes well. Otherwise, I'll have a lot of chatting with everyone. All right, as we can see, so our first group of laps going on, or ongoing here, as it looks like the Osmanian Devil will be one of the first to get through with his flying lap, as it looks like he is about to come through. Mediati getting a 1:13.286 in his Ferrari, with Osmanian Devil pulling a 1:13.651. As we see Electric Blade go first by almost 2 full seconds there, and then Rex taking over right away and claiming that spot. Ooh, we did have an invalidation from the Alpha Tauri of Modern Thai, and he's ghosted. Oh, it looks like he had a lot of damage there. Schultz dealing with some front wing issues. This putty is gonna get out of the way. Hayden Rogers on his way out. Knick-knack paddywhack, he is about to cross, as he is going to actually take over in first place of Monaco, obviously provisionally. Right now we have about half the field with setting their first times here, as we do have 14 minutes of qualifying left before we will get underway. It's like, oh, did we lose audio? But we did not. As we are currently underway. It's an unfortunate invalidation for Knick-knack, but I think he's heading into the pits. Yes, he is. So we are going to hop over. Drofta is setting a second fast lap here, so we'll see, as he did set a purple sector 1 as they go through that tight little corner. The nice fun hairpin, which is very tricky, and I'm very curious to see how that ends up going while in the wets. Well, it does look like, yeah, he is missing that front wing, so it's probable that he is going to just head into the pits. But let's see, because he is having a fairly good lap, even without a front wing. But nope, that is going to be him into the pit lane. And it looks like we have lost Gas Boy, and Racer X, he is on his way, as he has already set a 1:12.729, but he did just set a purple sector 2. So we have a purple sector 2 out of him, so he's having a pretty good run here. Let's see where this ends up putting him as he goes around the final couple corners. Nope, he is going to head into the pit lane, as it looks like we do have Modern Thai here. He is going to be flying on his, he's about to finish his first flying lap, hopefully first actual flying lap. Let's see how this goes. DRS is going to open as he makes his way down the down along the straightaway, and that is going to unfortunately invalidated, maybe, not really sure. So he will not get a time out of that. B. Schultz here as he is on his out lap. We'll see what he is able to do, and we're actually going to hop on board with B. Schultz here, as he is about to start his first, get his first flying lap, hopefully this time maintaining that front wing. As now... So they make their way along this straight, very hard braking and a hard right with a big curve on the left there, or on the right there. And then you're going to have to sort of inch your way through, and then a quick slowdown for this hard, sort of soft left for a hard right to go down the hill, avoid the lump on the left before immediately hard braking for a very tight right-hand corner, a little left, and then you go immediately heavy brakes. And this, you're doing about 50 kilometers an hour around that corner. The actual speed limit, if you ever are in Monaco in this area, is actually about 20 or 30, I believe, if I remember correctly. Very tight corner. Cars normally go very slow through there unless they're an F1 car. And then you get to the first chicane, a little bus stop chicane as he makes his way through that. It'll be a fast left, little lift, and then you get a quick little left right before the next sort of chicane here. You want to cut that as much as you can. Hard on the brakes before a very tight right-hand corner. Get a little throttle, let off, and then it's open the DRS, absolutely pin it. And that will get him into P1 by about a second. So a fantastic lap there out of Schultz. Great lap for him. Yes. We will hop on board now, as it looks like Cam Tizzle is going to be one of the next ones out there. I was just going to say, it looks like we have an incident with our Alpha Taurian. Yes, it is Modern Ty, as he is now going to be out of this one, as that will be the end of his qualifying, rather unfortunately, as we are on board here with Tin Man the Rowdy, as he's going to make his way, and that is going to be the end of his day as he clips his front tire, and that's going to cause some issues, but thankfully people are able to hopefully avoid him. As that is going to get all cleared up as we are back on board. We're going to ride along with Cam Tizzle as he's trying to set his first fast lap. They make their way through the tunnel, out for the first chicane, a little bus stop chicane there right by the water. Get back on the throttle heavy. Quick left, avoid the wall. Little left right quick chicane there, and then the, of course, swimming pool chicane. And that really hard right where it's actually really tough, I find, to avoid that last wall. And that is going to get Cam Tizzle a 1:13.035. So as of right now, with about 7.5 minutes left, B. Schultz is leading the fields in provisional pole with about a second gap there. And we'll hop on board with King C. He's actually about to finish his lap. Let's see where this ends up putting him. And once he gets his time in, we'll quickly run through sort of everybody. As Beamer Blunt does make it in time, as he was expected to be late. He was hoping to be here in time for qualifying, and it looks like he is going to be. As King Scott gets a 1:13.335. So with about 7 minutes left here, we'll quickly just run down our standings so far. So we have B. Schultz in first with the Johnny Damon right behind him. Rex, then Knick Knack Paddywhack, Drofta in fifth. Younger in sixth. Electric Blade in seventh. Ray Ray in eighth. Red Devil in ninth. Hayden Rogers in 10th place. We have Mediati in 12th, Pody in 13th, Gas Boy currently in 14th, Cam Tizzle in 15th, King C-Dot in 16th, Osmanian Devil in 17th, and Beamer Blunt currently in 18th, with Tin Man the Rowdy and Modern Ty both not getting a time, unfortunately. Alright, it does look like Knick-Knack Paddywhack is out on a flyer, but he has invalidated, so that's rather unfortunate. But we will stick on with Electric Boy as he is making his run through, as Red Devil actually hops his way up into a P2. He makes his way to the chicane. Ooh, almost cuts it, but does manage to keep it on the track. As yes, he will head on into the pits, as we do have a couple people sort of flying around now. Johnny Damon is about to start his first full flying lap as well. And unfortunately for the Johnny Damon, unable to improve on that time, so he is going to stay in P3 for now. As we do have the McLaren of Rex as he is on his outlap right now. Let's see what he is going to be able to do, as he is going to be starting his flying lap as he makes his way through the final little corner here. As he makes his way around the hairpin down on the right, or another fast right before heading into the tunnel. As we can see the Aston Martin getting out of the way nicely for him. As we are making our way into the final minute and a half of qualifying here. As he unfortunately has invalidated, so that is going to be the end of that, as it looks like he is going to try and create a little bit of space so he might be able to take another full flying run here. I believe that's going to be his goal. As yes, he is going to try and do what he can to get another flying run. See, as he is going to be running fairly low, and yeah, he's able to keep that one still going forward and avoid getting a off track. He is going to be pretty close to running out of power here, as he does set that purple sector 2. So this could be a pretty solid lap here for Rex. As unfortunately he has a little bit of a snafu there. He is going to continue. Not sure if he's going to really be able to improve after that. And yes, unfortunately will not be able to improve. He just missed his time by about 1/10 of a second there. As we do have a few guys, but we do have a purple sector 2 coming out of Red Devil. As he is going to come out of the final grouping of corners here. Get on the throttle full, see if he's going to be able to improve that time. And it looks like he does go faster, but unfortunately will not jump up in any space there, as that is going to be as high as he can get, so he will stay in 4. We do have, oh, looks like the Alfa Romeo of Ray Ray making his way through the final couple corners as well. As we are at the end of qualifying, so we're going to have people coming flying through as fast as they can, trying to get as next improvement as they can. Unfortunately, not going to be able to improve there. As it looks like we do have Mediati, as he does a little bit of a drift coming out of the final couple corners there, the hard right. As unfortunately, he won't be able to improve. Racer X decides to go into the pit lane. And it looks like that is going to be the end of qualifying. All right, and with that, we will be starting with Schultz on P1 with his pole position. Knick-Knack Paddywhack in P2. The Johnny Damon in P3. Red Devil in P4. Rex in 5. Racer X in 6. Drafta in 7. Electric Blade in 8. Younger in 9. Mediati in 10. Ray Ray in 11. Pody in 12. Hayden Rogers in 13. Gasboy in 14. Cam Tizzle in 15. King C-Dot in 16. Beamer Blunt in 17. Osmanian Devil 18. Tin Man the Rowdy in 19. And Modern Tie in 20. So that will be our starting grid, as we will get ready for that. And with that, I will quickly, we will throw up the logo, as they are going to take a little bit of a break here as everybody gets organized and set up for the race here. And we are underway with the formation lap. Samuel Bozak, good luck, buddy. So whoever is Sam's talking to you, good luck to you. As you can see, we have very, very wet track. The expected was wets and then wets, or just straight wets, but it looks like some people are going to try and take a gamble on some intermediate tires. Francis Pody, Let's Go Lando. It's a great song. So I'm very curious to see how this one ends out, as we obviously are going to be very much on wet conditions, and hopefully everyone's able to keep the race on a track. It looks like, yeah. I'm gonna throw that up real quick, actually. See who's on what tires. Because this is going to be very interesting to see. So we have a couple people on intermediates, quite a few on wets. Not sure which one will be necessarily the best, but we'll find out. With how wet it is, but it is supposed to not rain as much later on in the race. And we are back underway, as it looks like Schultz unfortunately going to lose out on a spot to Knick-Knack Paddywhack, as he's going to take over the lead. Dropping down as well. Looks like Younger, Cam Tizzle, Beamer Blunt all having a little bit of a drop down here, as this is going to be very hard to make any passes here. As you can see, a little bit of bumping in the background as we are making our way through, and it looks like we do have our first caution flag and a VSC, as it does look like Ray has himself a little bit of an incident. Hayden Rogers also dropping down into the back of the pack. As we quickly hop over, as it looks like both of them have gotten themselves started again. I don't know, Ray is missing his front wing. It looks like Cam Tizzle had a little bit of an incident there. Not really sure. Unfortunately, we missed that, but we do have the full safety car now. So that will be our first safety car of the evening, as Knick-Knack Paddywhack was able to jump the start, get himself out in front, as was Johnny Damon. B. Schultz going to be holding on to third, as well, and Rex right behind him in P4. So an unfortunate first lap safety car there as we make our way through. And we'll see how this all ends up playing out, as obviously that is going to not help matters. We don't want to be leaking safety cars, though I have a good feeling we're going to see quite a few safety cars tonight. As we go through, it looks like pretty much the bottom of 5, so 15, I guess bottom 6, all decided to pit. So we do have a couple people just swapping tires or maintaining as much as they can. you able to shorten the driver list? I'm assuming you mean bring it in. I can do that, yes. Unfortunately, that's all I'm pretty much about to do. They don't give me the option of making it shorter and rotating it, but I can do that. Hopefully that's a little bit better. As we make our way around, the field seems to have spread out. I'm not sure. It looks like somebody had a little bit of an incident in the hairpin, and we're going to have to wait for everyone to get caught back up again. And we will have at least another lap here, possibly another 2. Hopefully only just the one, and we'll be back going very shortly. Perfect. Okay, so that was what you were looking for, and that sounds good. And it looks like we just lost one of our drivers, the Mercedes, as he did retire in the pit lane, unfortunately. So we have lost Qaliy. And then we do have Cam Tizzle there in the pits, as it does look like, yes, that was the incident that caused, not necessarily the safety car there, but it was the one that caused the gapping that happened, that caused us to have to probably spend a little more time trying to get it organized. Someone rear-ended me and gave me rear wing damage and race done. Ah, yes, that is rather unfortunate. Was that, I'm assuming, what happened inside the hairpin? As it looks like we are going to have another lap here. Yes, we will. Hopefully this will be the last one. As Hayden Rogers Modern Tie ends up getting a 5-second time penalty with a bump to Hayden Rogers, as they both are in the pits now. So we have, yeah, this is going to be a very interesting race. The Alfa Romeo just steamrolled. Oh, that's what that, okay, so that was part of that. Got it. Because I was like, there was a little bit of an incident in the hairpin afterwards as well. But okay, so the Alfa Romeo, so I'm guessing that was the Ray incident, but rather unfortunately, but hopefully, thankfully we've got another race coming up. Unfortunately, I will not be casting that one, but I will be monitoring to see what ends up happening. Let's see if we are going to be back underway at the end of this one. Hoping so, and there it is. Yes, so race control says safety car in this lap. So Knick Knack Paddywhack is going to back up the field as best as he can. He forgot how to brake. I think 5 people got involved. That hairpin was me after the pit. Not being able to keep the rear end stable was pretty much impossible. Yeah. Always fun, hey? Gotta love a lot of damage. Alright, as we make our way through the final corners here. And we can see Knick Knack Paddywhack is back green as he takes off and gets himself almost a full second lead right away as he makes his way into the turn 1 here. As we can see, it looks like we have a McLaren of Cam Tizzle making his way into the pits once again. But a few people, as we a little bit of wall bumping there out of Gas Boy, and it does look like Hayden Rogers has also decided to retire from the session. Although that's bringing out a safety car. I'm guessing he had an incident. Yeah, there it is. So he has an incident coming out of turn 1, catches himself into the wall. Off to the side there, and that will be the end for him. So that will bring out our second safety car, lap 5. Like I said, it's a good chance this is going to be all the safety cars. All 5 of them are going to be out for this one. And it's rain, heavy rain. Always makes much more interesting. While I'm out, have fun. We'll try. So it's gonna be, I got a feeling these 39 laps are not gonna be very quick, as it does look like we'll have quite a few kind of hopping into the pits here. Throwing on, I think the weather is supposed to let up, as we do get a penalty for electric blade here. So I think most people are going to be starting to go on in intermediates if they didn't start on them. Although it does look like a Nick Necktie is also getting a new front wing. So yeah, so Schultz with a little bit of an advantage as he was on those intermediates, and it did cost him a little bit at the start, but with how the rain has let up and the track has not necessarily dried out, but has lessened in standing water, so the intermediate tires are probably going to be the route to go. As far as I remember, it was supposed to be full wets to intermediates to intermediate, if for like in terms of weather that we were expecting throughout the entirety of today's race. As we know, we're going to just have to wait for everybody to get all caught back up. As a few more people hopping in. I see Cam Tizzle is going for the most pit stops of the race, for sure. Thankfully, we did not do red flags on this. as this race would probably have a couple at this point. Let's see if hopefully we will be underway right away here. Yeah, and yes, we will be. So the safety car will be in this lap. We will be back under green as soon as we hit the final corner. Roundabouts. Depends on when Schultz decides to take us back underway here. As we make it through the hard right before the final kind of little corner here. And typically this is where they're going, and sure enough, once again, Schultz takes us away as he is going to be in the lead for now, taken away from Rex as they come into turn one here, and this is going to be a little tricky for a lot of people. Obviously with this mix of tires, you're not really sure who's going to do what, where, when, and why, as we have quite a few people hopping into the pits right away here. As we do have, yeah, the bottom four all into the pit lane. And the hairpin looks like everybody's doing okay so far as they make their way through. A little squirrely from the second Aston Martin there, as it does look like we do get a caution flag, but it is cleared up right away. And ooh, it looks like Beamer Blunt looking to make a move up on the inside of Osmanian Dibble. Is he going to be able to do it through the tunnel? As he is, as they get back out onto the street with Beamer Blunt having made a move up into P5. As we have this little bit of a train, and this is going to be the hard part about Monaco in the wet, is there's really not a whole lot of space you can move around in. As it looks like Girafta, as we do have another caution, and although it does look like everybody is moving still forward, so that's a bonus. And the fastest lap set by Schultz with 1:24.0. As it does look like the Osmanian Devil has hopped into the pit lane as well. Tin Man Rowdy looking like he is trying to do what he can to try and catch up to King C-Dot in the Williams. As King C-Dot gets a little squirrely coming out of there, and that's going to be not great, as that is going to allow Tin Man the Rowdy to get very close as he goes over the bump instead of avoiding it. These two are basically touching as they make their way into the tunnel. King C-Dot still, or sorry, into the hairpin. King C-Dot still holding on to that lead there, as Mediati has made his way into the pits once again. Obviously, they are closing up very quickly. Is he going to be able to do it? Unfortunately, it looks like he's going to have to settle for tucking in behind. They do have the Red Bull, as it does look like we have an incident. Is that Schultz? I think it is. Unfortunately, having a little bit of a snafu in the chicane. He is back underway as Rex now has the lead. He's got a huge, pretty solid gap there. So Nick Paddywhack going to get himself a 3-second time penalty, and Gasboy getting a 5-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. As we do get a VSC Trying to see where we have one. Let's see, was Gas Boy missing a bunch of his car? He is, so I think that's what has called out. This King C-Dot's going to get himself a 3-second time penalty, and oh, Gas Boy, unfortunately, without that front wing, gets a little loose, and that's going to send him into the wall, and I think that's going to turn our VSC to a safety car, maybe? Maybe not. Looks like it might be staying as a VSC. So I hit my mic there. Yeah, interestingly enough, not going to be bringing out a full safety car there. We will have, it looks like, a long VSC. King C-Dot once again getting a drive-through penalty. Speeding under the safety car. Or VSC. It looks like Beamer Blunt having hopped into the pits himself as we are back under green. Hopefully not too many other issues here, as there is pretty solid gaps going on, as Rex has about a 4-second lead, and then Schultz is up 7.2 seconds. Drofta, though, is trying to catch the Johnny Damon. He is within a second, but he is also very much under threat of Racer X, who's also got younger on him, and this whole little group here, obviously nice and close and trying to do what they can to hold on to each other. We'll see kind of how this goes, as it looks like Drofta having a little bit of a problem as he's trying to do what he can to sort of hold off Racer X here. As they make their way through the tunnel. So Drofta really doing what he can to sort of stay in touch with the Johnny Damon, but obviously having a little bit of a problem as he's constantly having to fight off Racer X trying to make moves on the inside. The Johnny Damon setting the fastest lap with a 1:23.329 as he is holding on to third place. He's got that 1.3 second gap now from him to Drofta. As Tim on the Rowdy losing a position to Knick Knack Paddywhack. As we make our way into the little hairpin here going down the hill. Younger was the Racer X has started to lose a little bit of time there. Though he does have his teammate Younger right on his tail, as Electric Blade is close behind as well as they make their way into the chicane. As you can definitely see, the rain has let up just a little bit. And Schultz is starting to close the gap a touch as well. He is down to about 3.3 seconds from that 4.6. Though the Johnny Damon is also putting on a good time. Though it does look like we had a little bit of an incident with a Ferrari, as that looks like they had dropped off. As Knickknack does set the fastest lap of the 122, as the track is definitely starting to get more suited to these intermediate tires. As we can see the little train of three that we have, the Aston Martin, Alpha Tauri. Beamer Blunt is going to get a 5-second. Ooh, as Younger goes for a little bit of a drift coming out of that corner into the tunnel. That's created a little bit more space here. As now, unfortunately, we have some significant gaps kind of all the way through those Schultz. They're really starting to catch Rex up here. And I think, yeah, Rex is on those intermediates, so I'm not sure. The times are dropping fairly quickly, as we do see Electric Blade has retired as well. And, oh, Electric Blade having DNF'd, and he's pulled into there, and Mediati is, I want to say, on his 6th pit stop. As that we have an incident with pit stops so far. Lots of people spending good chunks of time in there. As Rex really starting to get caught, though. The Johnny Damon's also starting to really catch on Schultz as well. You can see the Williams behind as well. So it looks like we've started getting a few lapped cars now. As you can see, the Johnny Damon right behind him, but he does have a Williams, a lapped Williams. I believe that's King C. Just behind him, so no real issues there, but that is a thing. And then in the background you could just see the Haas, who is once again kind of under threat here of the Aston Martin of Racer X, who has created a little more gap to Younger. Kind of bounce around between these two, and you can see the Johnny Damon starting to reel in. He's now down to about 1.3 seconds here. And closing in on that 1 second mark. So now he's within that 1 second of Schultz, as Schultz is kind of doing what he can, trying to catch up to Rex, who seems to have found a little bit more pace again. And we do get oh, it looks like Ray is going to pull into the pits and retire there. That'll be the end for him. And King C-Dog going to get himself another 3-second time penalty. As the Johnny Damon's now really trying to push to see what he can do here against Schultz, as they are right on top of each other. Although we'll see how much that ghost car starts getting in his head, as he constantly seems to be trying to push to get ahead of him. So we have a caution in sector 2. I'm not sure. Oh, and that looks like that was Ray's DNF, I guess. Not really sure. as we have lost now 5 drivers in the first 17 laps, so... And Johnny Damon really trying to do what he can. Of course, the lack of DRS that he is not, or that he will not be getting. The DRS he does not get, as there is still the rain. They will not have DRS, as it looks like King C. doing what he can to sort of try and unlap himself, and this might throw a little bit of a weird feeling for the Johnny Damon, as he has a car constantly sort of inside him. As, ooh, it looks like Schultz had a little bit of trouble trying to get through that corner, but he is able to still hold on, and that's going to be the nice thing of this track, is it is very hard to pass. There's not a lot of space, so even if he isn't exactly flying, he should still hold on. As we make our way down towards turn 1 here, Schultz really doing what he can just to fight off the Johnny Damon, as he's able to get within a couple tenths of a second, but just not quite able to find the space to be able to get around him. He's going to have to hope for a very late break, which is obviously not the easiest thing to do in these very changing, or I guess not even changing, challenging conditions with all the rain and water, as they avoid the bump. Or heading down into the right-hander and then heading into the tunnel. As he's gonna not really have too many issues of thinking that the Johnny Damon is gonna be able to pull off a pass going around the hairpin. So the tunnel's really the big chance he has, as it's a long, heavy braking zone. So it can be good for passing, but it also can cause a lot of problems. But it unfortunately is going to be very far off, so he's not going to have too many issues of trying to think of making that pass. As quietly throughout all of this, Schultz has made his way up. He's within half a second of Rex now. So these front 3 really dueling it out for this podium positions. As the Johnny Damon is going to be coming into the pit lane now. So that will give a little bit of leeway for Schultz, as he now has a second gap, but Drofta is going to be behind him. And Drofta dealing with Racer X being right on his rear wing. As unfortunately for Schultz, another gap has opened up to Rex, as it is now for 1.4 seconds. So I think a few of the intermediate runner tires are starting to get a little cooked. And strictly at this point, I'm just curious. We're gonna take a quick look here at the number of stops. Mediati is on 9 pit stops today. A couple on 4, some on 2, some on none. As it does look like Rex has gone into the pits, as has Drofta. Now this is going to give Schultz the lead. He's got a 2.7 second lead. So we're now going to have to see kind of what he's going to be able to sort of create out of this. Like, obviously their tires are starting to get a little worn for anybody who is on these tires from the start, as I think now Schultz is kind of down to the last one, having done so. Obviously, if he does come in, he has Racer X right behind him, who's also one of the few who I believe has not made a pit stop yet. So far, he is doing a fairly good job now. Looks like Racer X might be starting to close in just a smidgen on him. I say that as soon as he then drops down outside of 2 seconds instead of the 1.6 he was going into that chicane. He's got a 2-second gap if he's in. I mean, obviously with this track, it is very hard to get by somebody, even if they are going slower, as we have seen. I believe it was in 2018 when Danny Rick was able to win the race without being able to use all of his gears because of all the issues he was dealing with. So that's going to allow Schultz. He's coming into the pits. Racer X does get by him, but on a technicality. And we're going to see here, we're going to see where he ends up coming out, as I think the Johnny Knick-Knack Paddywhack is able to get by, as is the Johnny Damon. So this is going to, is Drofta going to be able to? Yes, and Drofta is going to get ahead. So Schultz is going to come out. He's going to hopefully come out. That, we'll have to see how that one ends up playing out. But he is going to be able to come out and still be, as it looks like that was Mediati, the Ferrari behind him, who is a couple laps down now. So he is going to be in that 4th position on very brand new intermediate tires. We'll have to see how this ends up playing out, as it did. Drofta did just come in, so he's going to be on fairly new tires. The Johnny Damon, I believe, is also on fairly new tires. So let's take a quick look here. Yeah, so the only one on older tires of that front group is going to be Knick-Knack Paddywhack, so there's a chance he may have to hop in, but he also does have a 3-second time penalty, so he's kind of in a little bit of a tricky spot in how he is going to handle that. As the Johnny Damon is doing as much as he can to try and sort of reel him in, but we'll have to see what Knick-Knack Paddywhack ends up actually doing. So he does have a 3-second time penalty, and he is on the 11-lap old intermediate tire. He does have a 5-second lead, so I think pitting for him doesn't make a lot of sense. He's just going to be doing everything he can to try and keep that above 3 seconds. As Racer X now back into pit lane, so it sounds like he might have had a problem. So we're going to see here as Knick-Knack Paddywhack is starting to get caught by the Johnny Damon. He's only about 4.7 seconds. 4.3, drops 4/10 going into that, the hairpin there. So we do get a caution. Ooh, and we will have a VSC, as is that King C-Dot that had himself an issue. Oh, and we have the Ferrari with a problem in the hairpin. Wasn't, so was that Knick-Knack Paddywhack that had it? No. Oh. The Osmanian Devil, that's where the issue was. So the Osmanian Devil having himself a little bit of an incident. He is going to have to hop in and get himself a new set of tires, or new front wing. But we do now have a VSC, so a little bit of help for Knick-Knack Paddywhack is now, obviously, he's going to be able to hold on to that time just a bit, as he is going to... Oh! And he gets a speeding under the VSC, so that's pretty much going to be the end of his day. In terms of trying to go for the win. As the Johnny Damon and Drofta both going to be able to go past, as is B. Schultz, as we are back under green, as the VSC has ended. Now the key is going to be who ends up getting the win here. Is a couple people in the pits, Younger and a Red Devil. Our front three all without penalties so far, as that is, I believe, a ghosted. Yeah, that is a ghosted Alpine of, I believe, the Osmanian Devil there. The other Alpine is in P1. Rata, and you can see just ahead, so there's 1, 2, and 3rd just going through the chicane in the back there. As the Johnny Damon makes his way through, as we are closing in on 15 laps to go. 15 laps done now. Left, there we go. I can talk today. It's a Sunday. You can see, yeah, Knick-Knack going in again for his drive-through penalty there. And Tin Man already getting past Younger. Younger's still in the pits there. I'm going to say a barely slow pit stop, unfortunately for him. Because it looks like Droft has just not been able to kind of reel in, as you can hear a little bit of a lockup out of the Johnny Damon as he was coming down into that corner. Droft not really being able to close much for gap here. Yeah, as Drofta seems to be having some form of a problem here, as it's allowing Schultz to really get caught up here. He's now within a second. As Mediati has retired, it looks like, oh, an unfortunate space. But it should be cleaned up fairly quickly. And we are back under green, as I think that's going to be all we're going to get for safety cars right now. As Younger has gone back into the pits. Not sure why, but... As it looks like we have an incident, and that is going to be King Cedar retiring as well, as he has gone off just before the hairpin. As we will stay on board with Schultz, as he was able to get past Drofta, and I don't know what's going on. Drofta seems to be having a lot of problems trying to keep this car going. Ooh, as he gets a little loose, and that he is heading into the pit lane himself. He does have an 18-second gap to Knick-Knack Paddywhack, so he's going to hope for a very fast pit stop here. As Schultz now aiming to do what he can in order to get through and try and chase down the Johnny Damon. Gonna hop on board quickly with the Johnny Damon as he is making his way through some lapped traffic of the Alpha Tower. I believe that's Modern Thai. As I think, yeah, the other Alpha Tower is out on the day. Yeah, there's quite a few gaps starting to open up, get a little longer. We will hop on board as it looks like the Red Devil is trying to chase down Tin Man the Rowdy here. So he's gotten within 0.5 of a second as he is pushing as we make our way down this little bit of a straightaway, avoiding the bump on the left side for a hard right, and then a little further downhill before the quick hairpin. Not very quick though. I believe it's about 50 kilometers per hour. Red Devil is doing what he can. Like we have talked about, this is one of the toughest tracks to try and make a pass on. As not only is it very tight, and then having the water making it slick. And these intermediate tires, they do move a lot of water out from underneath them. It still makes it very tricky to get all the grip you need to be able to get a great exit to be able to get past. As we have entered the final 10 laps here. As Racer X looked like he got a little squirrely coming out of that last corner. He is able to maintain it, keep it all pointed straight. As we do get a caution, as that looks like it's Beamer Blunt was currently in P11, has a little bit of an incident, and that is going to be the end of the day for him. Modern Time has once again entered the pits. Does look like Knick-Knack Paddywhack has also gone back in. Jofta is going to be able to jump him, so that will put Jofta up into third, Knick-Knack Paddywhack into fourth. As Knick-Knack with that pit stop actually loses a bunch of time, ends up coming out in 9th position. I think he was serving one of his at least. As these guys are going to be very close to each other as they make their way down into the tunnel. The Red Devil really doing what he can. He's within that half second, but unfortunately just don't seem to be able to get past. Yeah, lack of DRS is really making it hard to really make a move, get around. He is getting very close. He's within 0.2 of a second. Let's see if he's going to be trying to make a move here to make their way around this corner. Ooh, as that is going to be the end of the Tin Man the Rowdy, as he just slammed into that wall and takes off his front tire, allowing Red Devil and Racer X to swing by. Racer X now going to be trying to chase down the Red Devil. Obviously not exactly what he wanted, but he did gain the place, and now he's just gonna fight him off, try and hold on to what he can. And Osmanian Devil also DNFing. Seems to be slowly whittling down the rest of the field as we are down to our top 10 left. So everybody who finishes today will score points. As we are in... Ooh, that looks like Modern Tie having a little bit of an incident, but it does manage to keep it going. But I think that probably cost him a front wing. Oh no, it did not cost him a front wing, so he just got a little squirrely. As yes, now we are top 10 or our top 10. And that will be who scores points, barring anyone else having issues and crashing out. You can see Knick-Knack Paddywhack got himself a little bit of time as well. Ooh, as he gets a little squirrely. And there's Younger. Rex, who was at one point in the lead, having a little bit of trouble today. But he is still holding on to P7 with his teammate right in front of him. Rex having himself a little bit of a day as well. He is holding on to P5. Red Devil up in P4. Drafta in P3. And it looks like this could be our podium grouping. We still do have 5 laps to go. As yeah, unfortunately, not a lot of battles going on right now, as everyone's kind of spaced themselves out when you're down to only 10 drivers. Everyone kind of has their own spot on the track. And yeah, so down to our final 4 laps here. It looks like it is about to be our final 4 laps with our Johnny Damon on his way into turn 1, as he has had a very clean race. Kind of was able to do everything he needed to, managed to stay out of as much trouble as he could. And now just kind of working on keeping it on track, as that's going to be pretty much the goal for everybody left. Just try and keep it out of the wall, keep it moving forward as best as you can. Obviously with this kind of track and weather combination, a little easier said than done. Ooh, big time lockup out of the Johnny Damon there, but he is able to keep everything pointed forward. Again, can get a little dicey trying to make some of these moves. As we are down to our final 3 laps. Slowly making our way through, and everybody's kind of just keeping it smart, keeping it smooth. Man, I don't know how the Johnny Damon hasn't crashed yet. Every time he comes into that corner, he locks up super hard. But he is able to keep it going. Quite amazing, to be honest. As we make our way down, closing in on our final couple laps here. When the Johnny Damon makes it through, it will be our final lap, so our second last hairpin of the day for the Johnny Damon. That didn't sound like he locked up nearly as bad that go around there, so that's fantastic. As we are going to be on our final lap right away here, and it's just going to be a case of everybody keep it pointed in one direction, and hopefully we'll end up with these 10 as our final grouping. As the Johnny Damon makes his way for the final time around Monaco in this very wet and chilly day at the racetrack. As you can see him more or less chasing down an AlphaTauri that's ahead of him, just kind of keeping it clean, not really trying to push him too hard. as the Monaco Circuit, its final lap. One of the proud Triple Crown races. As he makes his way through the final. Or the first little left-right into the next left-right final chicane. And through the last turn here. Oh, almost drifts the final corner. Obviously not what he's wanting to do, as that will take away the Johnny Damon, going to get his first, or his win here around Monaco. The fantastic drive, keeping it all out of trouble, as Schultz will be making his way through the final corner as well, as he is going to take home second place after having a little bit of an incident, dropping down, battling his way back up to P2. Fantastic drive out of him. Drofta going to be our next one, although Red Devil looking like he's trying to make a move. I don't know if he's gonna quite be able to get there, and I don't think so, as Drofta will take home P3 with the Red Devil right behind him in P4. Except, oh yes, but with the penalties, Red Devil's going to be able to jump Drofta. So Red Devil will take P3. Racer X does come home in P5. Cam Tizzle coming through, as he will have P6 with Rex right behind him in P7. Then we will have a Knick-Knack Paddywhack, and you can see Younger just behind him as well. So as these two make it, ooh, as Knick-Knack goes for the big drift there. And we'll see, I think this is going to swap up positions, as Knick-Knack had quite a few penalties in this one. Yeah, that will. So Younger will finish in P8, Knick-Knack in P9. And we will wait for our final driver in Modern Tie, as he's going to come home in the final point scoring position of P10. And that will be our race in round 7 in Monaco, with a fantastic drive for those who were able to tame the very wet very wet-weathered Monaco. Modern Tie going to get himself driver of the day as well for that P10 finish. And there we have it, the Johnny Damon finishing in P1, B. Schultz in P2, and Red Devil going to be taking P3. And so Modern Tie started P20, ends up in P10 with 6 stops. So a long day for them. But that will be that race as we will start. So the Johnny Damon in P1, Schultz in P2, Red Devil in P3, Drofta in P4, Racer X in P5, Cam Tizzle P6, Rex in P7, Younger in P8, Knick-Knack Paddywhack in P9, Modern Tie in P10, and that will be the end of our finishing drivers. We had Tin Man the Rowdy, Osmanian Devil, Beamer Blunt, King C. Mediati, Ray, Electric Blade, Gas Boy, Hayden Rogers, and Poti, all unfortunately DNFing in that race. So hopefully we will have a little cleaner, not much cleaner, a little easier going race for next week, as we will be in, I believe, as we will quickly take a look here. So we'll hop over that and bring up the calendar. So we will be heading to Barcelona for the Spanish Grand Prix of the new layout as well. Unfortunately, I will not be casting it, as I will be a little bit busy doing some other things next Sunday. So hopefully everybody is going to be back for Montreal on September 17th. I will be back for that one. We will have that guy go, and we will definitely, hopefully, have a great race that one, because it's Montreal, and I'm Canadian. So we're going to have a great Canada race. And personally, if B. Schultz, who I believe has a Canadian flag on his, he should get the win, because I say so. So that will be how this one wraps up here. As we will have you take a quick look at. Nope, unfortunately that's, yeah, so that will be hopefully a little bit of a better race next week, and then in Canada we will have it casted for that one. Thanks for coming on by, everybody. Pody, unfortunate day for you. Christopher Schultz, congratulations to B Schultz, as he did have himself a fantastic race. And Sam, thanks for hanging on out. Everyone who did decide to drop in, appreciate you all. Hopefully we will see you guys on the 17th of September, as that will be the next one I will have casted. Enjoy. Have yourselves a great night, great afternoon, whatever it is for you.